This is a very emotional crime. It's a very personal crime.
Breaking news in the Alexandria serial murders that have gripped the community. Tonight, Charles Severance has officially been charged. We have team coverage from police headquarters to the neighborhood on edge tonight. This is the news that many have been waiting so long to hear.
Charles Severance, the man captured in West Virginia on Loudoun County gun charges, now faces 3 murder charges in Alexandria. He had been called a person of interest for months. So what has changed in this case?
Northern Virginia Bureau Chief Jeff Goldberg is live from police headquarters tonight with where police held a press conference late this afternoon. Jeff, what's the latest this hour?
Well, Leon and Allison, Chief Earl Cook here at Alexandria Police expressing a great deal of relief that this situation has now come to an arrest. Of course, talking primarily about the friends and family of the victims, but also for members of the department who have spent countless hours investigating this case. The big question, though, remains, what about the evidence? Chief Earl Cook being very reluctant in terms of giving any details about any of the evidence that led to the arrest for Charles Severance Charles Severance in these 3 murders. Severance, meanwhile, again, who does remain in Loudoun County on gun charges. Here are the charges that Severance is looking at now here in Alexandria. A grand jury in Alexandria indicting him on 10 counts today, including first-degree murder, 2 counts of capital murder, 4 counts of use of a firearm, 2 counts of illegal firearm possession, and 1 count of malicious wounding. The victims in these cases are Nancy Dunning, murdered in 2003, and Ron Kirby in 2013, then Ruth Ann Lodato in February of this year, both murdered in their homes in Alexandria. Again, Chief Cook holding that press conference came as a big surprise to a lot of us here. Happened at 3 o'clock this afternoon, making that announcement. Family members of the 3 victims sitting in the front row here at Alexandria Police Headquarters. The chief, again, not giving details about the evidence, but certainly implying that the witness to the murder of Ruth Ann Lodato in February really helped get a strong visual idea of Charles Severance, leading to an artist's sketch, and then, of course, to the arrest of Severance in Wheeling, West Virginia in March. The chief says he could not say whether or not the crimes were random or targeted, again saying evidence in court will further establish information on that front. Severance did become the focus of the investigation several months ago, and evidence and information that came forward in the past several months have led to the charges brought today.
Our family is grateful to the police and investigators who continue to pursue our mother's case over these nearly 11 years. While nothing can bring her back, we're hopeful that today's indictment is the beginning of a process that will offer our family and the other affected families some small amount of closure.
So it is some pleasure, it's ambiguous today, but some pleasure that we have the ability today to say we have this particular killer arrested.
And one big admission we did hear from Chief Cook today is that the gun or guns used in these crimes have still not been recovered. Many questions were asked to the chief about ballistics, about firearms. Again, no answers. We do know, though, the firearms have not been collected to this point. Commonwealth's Attorney Brian Porter here in Alexandria is deciding not to seek the death penalty in these cases. The maximum penalty would be life in prison. No explanation as to why that is the case. Brian Porter not taking any questions until things move forward on a legal front. Again, Charles Severance is currently in jail in Loudoun County on gun charges. Chief Cook saying he expects that he will be transferred here to Alexandria within the next week. Live at Alexandria Police Headquarters, Jeff Goldberg, ABC 7 News.
All right, Jeff, thank you. Well, as you know, the unsolved murders had people in Alexandria on alert for any strangers who knocked on their doors. So what do they think of today's news that Charles Severance is now charged? Tom Rousey continues our team coverage live from the Alexandria neighborhood tonight. Tom?
And Allison, we're here in Delray. It was just blocks from where I'm standing that Nancy Dunning was murdered more than a decade ago. And although this neighborhood has changed a lot over the last 10 years, a lot of longtime residents say it's never been the same since she was killed, and their fears grew even worse after the 2 murders in the last year. Tonight, a lot of folks saying this news of charges against Charles Severance brings a lot of relief to them. But not everyone says they're relieved, because some also point out we still have a long process to go through here.
But yeah, it makes me feel a little safer, but I don't answer my door where I live. and I haven't since the murder 10 years ago.
I'm glad because I live just a couple houses down from where Nancy Dunning lived, so we remembered that real well. And I'm just sort of glad that they took their time on it, I hope, and did a thorough job before they actually came down with an indictment.
Yeah, I feel relief. It's always a relief when you know, somebody is, justice is done.
I think we've got to go through the process and see what the evidence is, and that's going to make the determination.
Now, Annette, the last person you heard from there, did point out that Charles Severance is innocent until proven guilty. So for her and some others, it would certainly be a bigger relief if he was ultimately found guilty. And we were sure he's the one who committed these 3 alleged serial killings. Now, a lot of other folks also pointed out that this is just the start of a very long process. There's going to be a trial. It's probably going to take quite some time. So they do want to hear more things as this process goes forward. A lot of people said, well, what evidence exactly led to today's indictment? And we just don't know what all that evidence was yet, except for very few things. So a lot of folks really want to learn more as this process moves forward. Live in the Delray neighborhood of Alexandria, I'm Tom Rousey, ABC 7 News.
Okay, Tom, more to come for sure. Thank you. And we have been on this story from the very beginning. We will continue to cover the ins and outs of these 3 murders right here on ABC 7 and on WJLA.com. Coming up at 5:30, social media responds to today's indictment. Leon.